This is a low-risk business that could make you thousands of dollars a month, all from a piece of land. Have you ever wanted your own little slice of land? Like a place you can escape to when the world gets a bit too chaotic, but earn from when you're not there? Then this video is for you. Like me, you're probably assuming that to own a bunch of land, you'd need to spend hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars. But what if that's not true? What if for just a few $1,000s and some creative financing, you could buy some land, earn a significant amount of cash, and even get others to help pay for it? Well, that's exactly what we're gonna figure out if it's possible today. And it turns out my friend Kate did it. So this is Kate. Kate bought a piece of land for campers to visit near Joshua Tree for $10,000, which I thought was wildly cheap. And then with platforms like HipCamp, she turned it into a very low maintenance business, at least to start. In her first 90 days, she was already making $1,500 a month, but was about to earn a lot more. I was inspired by Kate, so I thought, let me copy it. And I bought a piece of land in Oklahoma. You actually would probably love my other video I did with Kate, but the thing is, in 2024, the market is just different than when Kate started her business. So the way she did it then isn't gonna work now. So today I'm gonna break down the 7 best ways to cash flow on land. And if you wanna make some money while owning a little bit of dirt, this video is for you. Make sure you subscribe because we're gonna have way more like this coming your way. I think a whole lot more people are capable of doing this than they realize. Maybe you're one of those people. You've got your land, your plans, and maybe a little bit of a vision. I was like you, and I'm about to tell you all about exactly how I'm doing it. But maybe you're thinking of the 1,000 other reasons why now might not be the right time for land. The good news is there's another path to diversifying your income into real estate without the headache of being a developer or worrying about a 3 a.m. raccoon raid. It's called the Fundrise Flagship. This is a $1 billion portfolio of real estate assets designed for long-term growth that you can access in just a few minutes and as low as $10 to start. But here's the thing, the Fundrise Flagship Fund caters to everyone, from the accredited finance pros to the beginners as well. With today's economy and all the uncertainty, diversifying your exposure is a really important strategy to protect and build your wealth for the next generation. So if you're interested in investing in this space, the Fundrise Flagship Fund is a cool option to consider. Thank you for sponsoring this video, Fundrise. Click the link and you can get a whole lot more information. So, why should you consider investing in farmland? Well, first, low volatility compared to a lot of other asset classes. U.S. farmland returns have averaged like 11.5% annually since 1990, with consistently lower volatility and basically no correlation to stocks, which is good. If your stocks go up and down, this doesn't matter. Why now is the time to do this? $24 trillion in farming assets, barns, equipment is going to transfer hands over the next 20 years. The average age of the American farmer is 60. They're tired, retiring, can't run their businesses anymore. Sure, some of them are going to pass it on to their children in a trust, but not all of them have kids, or their kids don't want to inherit the farmlands. I know quite a few like that. And it's a lot better in the future for you and me and everyday people to buy this farmland as opposed to big corporations and private equity and foreign entities. So you might be able to get a great deal because some of these farmlands have debt. They're just trying to figure out a way to ride out the rest of their lives and move on. So if you've ever wanted land, I don't know, now might be the time. I bought a piece of land, 60 acres, for $292,000. I put down 10% for that land and have a mortgage of about $1,900 a month. It's called a land loan. Now, the interesting part is I think more people can do this same thing. And why would you want to invest in farmland? You got tax deductions. For example, in Texas, if you have 6 cows, you can have an agricultural tax credit. I think many of the smartest people in the world are investing in land. Bill Gates, your boy, owns a ton of it. 242,000 acres of farmland, 27,000 acres of other land. And so from the cheapest but smallest return to the biggest investment but bigger return, there's options. The question though is, if we're not all as rich as Bill Gates, how can we own land and make it cash flow for us? I got 7 ideas that I'm going to actually start from the cheapest and also they make the least money to the biggest and it makes the most money. Let's do this. Number 1, using land for hunting.
Visit deer tracks through city folk, okay?
Pretty passive. Lease rates, according to Oklahoma, one of the places we own land, for a shooter's forum, the going rate a few years ago was around $10 an acre. But more recently, lease brokers have been asking $300 an acre. Here's how you might calculate this. Let's assume you have 100 acres of huntable land. At $10 an acre, 100 acres x 10 equals $1,000 per year. There's lots of different lease types you can do. Hunting leases we're talking about, which basically means, by the way, a hunting lease is where you allow people to go on private land and hunt ducks, hunt deer, coyotes. There's all different things you can allow them to do. For deer and duck hunting, that means you could have hunters there for 2 different seasons. So 1,000, 2,500 times 2, let's say. These year-long leases are common in Oklahoma and can give you a little bit of income without really much management. You can also do day leases as an option. You make way more money, but you got to manage it more. All right, how would you change the price on this? Location, so if you have a place that's known for big deer, you're going to be able to charge way more. If you have deer plus turkey plus quail plus waterfowl, aka ducks, you're going to be able to ask for more. If you have amenities and places they can stay, more. Also, for instance, on mine, we have a water supply there, so I want to do hunting, fishing, camping to increase the value. If I can also build a lodging or amenities, then I can charge more overall. Here's a real example. 320 acres in Woodward County, Oklahoma brings in $4,200 per year for hunter maximum. Now that's not going to be enough to allow you to buy the property, but that's just one stream. Let's start layering. All right, number 2, egg farming. Egg prices, have you noticed, they are up. So I think you could take advantage of this trend, especially if you live by your property. Egg prices increased 86% since the beginning of 2024, reaching $3 per dozen. So your operation, if you were gonna have 500 hens, probably $15K. Chicken coop for a medium-sized operation, $5K. Every chicken costs you $5 to $15 to breed and age, and then you're gonna be charging yourself $500 to $1,000 per month to feed 500 hens. You also got a bunch of equipment, feeders, waters, nesting boxes, somewhere around $20K for the first month. Assuming each hen lays 200 to 300 eggs per year, and you have 500 hens, that means you could produce 125,000 eggs per year, which means at a price of, let's say, $2 per dozen, you could be making $20,000 per year. Now this is a big operation, and I probably wouldn't go that crazy, but I probably would have a small chicken operation on top of it, next to my hunting lease, next to a few other things that I'm gonna show you, and I'd sell them at a farmer's market for a higher price. Plus, chickens are fucking rad. I'd also think about allowing somebody else to do it. So maybe I'm gonna check out and see if somebody wants to outsource my land for chicken operating. I'll report back. Let me know in the comments if you wanna see that. Equipment rental and storage. Unused land can turn into profitable storage facilities. So you can rent out space for the storage of agricultural machinery or other things. So if you think about this, farmers need seasonal storage, and having a local affordable option, way more attractive. Let's break this down. You could potentially charge $50 to $200 per month per piece of equipment, depending on size and demand. This is checking in the local area. Let's assume you have 5,000 square feet of storage space available, which really just means it's flat. You could charge an average of $100 per month per equipment piece, and you can store 50 pieces of equipment, 100 square feet per piece, roughly. That means with 50 x 100, that's $5,000 a month, equaling $60,000 a year in revenue, just 5,000 times 12. Little asterisk if you wanted to get crazy with it. One of my richest friends I knew growing back up, his name was Robert, and he ran an equipment rental leasing company. And so basically he leased out the equipment as opposed to just storing it, he let people borrow it. Well, that means that you could charge $500 to $200 per day per piece of equipment. So it really depends on where your land's located, but that's another thing I might add. All right, so we got chickens, we got deer, we got equipment. What's next? The obvious one, of course, goat farming. How to start? Well, goat farms are places where farmers breed and raise domestic goats. Goats are raised primarily for their milk, sometimes their meat, sorry guys, but you can expect to spend about $100 to $800 for registering breed stock with the registered female doe to bring in top dollar. You may pay, I don't know, $1,200 for a milking goat, such as a Nubian, or for a meat producer doe. So you gotta start with a couple thousand. You'll need a male buck and several does. You can also purchase pregnant goats. You'll need a barn or a shed and some goat-proof fencing. You won't need a lawnmower though, because these things eat everything. You'll also have to feed them if you don't have a ton of grass available for them, especially during the winter seasons. So let's say also that you might have to have some milking equipment, about $1,500. Now, how could you make money for goats? Well, breed and sell the goats. We actually did a whole video on this if you want to see about a goat lady that did just that. You can also sell the milk. Goat milk is something that people drink, especially here in Texas. You can also rent the goats out for clearing land. You can actually have the goats sheared 2 times a year, wash and eventually spin it into high quality yarn. You could also sell products like soap, goat milk soap, shampoo, etc. All right, let's break down the numbers here in Oklahoma. If we bought 15 of these types of goats, the initial investment could be $15,000. That would cover the cost of goats, basic infrastructure, and initial feed supplies. Annual cost would be like, let's call it $900 per goat, times 15 goats equals $13,500. Although those babies, they figure out how to breed, they like it, they keep going. Other operational expenses, about $5K. Annual revenue, well, milk sales, a gallon per day, x 305 days, x 15 goats equals 4,575 gallons. And you can see the math right here. Let's break this down real quickly. Plus we've got soap and cheese sales, which might mean that we have an annual revenue about 45K. The profit, I don't know, probably closer to 15 to 20K. But we've got goats on hand. And if you want to, you could do goat yoga, because apparently that's a thing too. And we have that video as well. Next, we've got an orchard. Well, okay, we've got a lot of work to do on orchard, but I'm going to explain that next. Oklahoma is known for its peaches. Here's why I like this option. Most of the work is in the beginning, so planting, irrigating, fencing, pruning. But once the foundation is laid, you have an asset for decades. My friend Isaac actually did this live, and I have the numbers from him. Tree saplings cost 10 to 20 bucks for each if you start with a small one. For an orchard of 5 acres, you might plant about 500 trees. That'll cost you anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000. Equipment, you'll need irrigation, tractors, sprayers, harvesting equipment. A basic setup might cost $20,000. This is including soil preparation, fencing, fertilizers. Budget, I don't know, $5K for this. Total investment, approximately $30,000. Not including, though, the human labor. So my friend Isaac did this breakdown exactly, turned a barren land into a beautiful orchard. And this orchard that he created cost him about $75,000 in a few months. He also bought older trees, which is smart because then it's established. So it looks like when we look around, apple orchards and peach orchards make about $60,000 per year once established, just selling the fruit. Now, since Oklahoma is known for peaches, you could look at this company right here as a case study. I'd probably give them a call. I'm going to, and figure out how their business model works. Now, Isaac, that I told you about, he got the land, similar process to me, and designed an orchard for max biodiversity, choosing every fruit the Texas climate could support, 50 different varieties and sub-varieties. January 2023, they put in 207 tiny saplings in the ground, just 18-inch sticks that didn't look like much. By the end of the first year, they tripled in size. This January 2024, they pruned a good 50% of each tree to make the trees stronger, but since then they tripled in size again. So now they're thriving, they're structured and balanced and bearing their first fruits. And they have grapes too, which I didn't really think in Texas. These trees should produce for 20 or 50 years. So this is the long game for this one, obviously, not something you're gonna make money on up front. All right, next we've got
Barn dominium, old one. We're gonna fix it up.
So on my land that I bought, they already had the spare parts for a barn dominium. And so we bought a piece of land and actually got this barn dominium with it. And I think this could be a business in and of itself. My friend actually found himself in exactly the same situation. This is again Isaac. He found an old abandoned farm for sale for $1,300 an acre, all included. But hidden within was this timber frame barn that wasn't looking so great at the time. But look what it looks like now. Now they've turned it into an amazing venue with even better cash flow. Just with the help of some friends, they transformed this into this. They named the place Morning Glory Farm after the wildflowers banqueting the long driveway. And now couples rent out the barn for weddings. And so for my land, after doing some research, it looks like wedding venues in Oklahoma typically charge between $3K to $8K or more, but let's not get crazy, per event, depending on what they offer. Since this has a barn and maybe a bunch of hay bales and some cool fireplaces, it will be on the upper side of this. So let's go like this. Bridal shower rentals, potentially $150 for 2 hours if booked with a wedding. Then maybe you have an engagement photo shoot. Other types of events during peak seasons like corporate retreats. And I also think it's reasonable that my barn dominium can host 20 to 30 weddings per year with an average of $5K per event. That would generate $100 to $150K in revenue. Now, I don't know exactly on profits on that. The average wedding industry and company says that they make about a 30% profit margin. So we probably make 30% of 150K. And finally, automate vacation rental properties. Isaac, my friend, does it for $2,000 a month and automates his whole business. His thing is crazy. Smart lighting, door locks, noise sensors, thermostats when building each of his 7 cabins. So anytime a guest is checking in, a unique door code populates in the automated check-in instructions message they receive only valid intros for the rest of their reservation, so they can't get in unless it's their time. So he created all these automations, which means that he doesn't have to run his 7-cabin thing very much. His friend charges him $150 a week to monitor messaging and to make sure anything that goes sideways at the place she takes care of. He also has somebody that helps him with maintenance. They stop by the property a couple times during the month and check on things, water the plants, receive deliveries, small things. Isaac pays him about $200 a week. His cleaner has access to his project management system, and Isaac pays her $95 to $150 a cleaning and sends her a Venmo each week. This then covers almost everything besides website and booking, which are optimized to answer guest questions and make Isaac not have to answer all of it. So in my future state, I want to have a bunch of cabins that are just like Isaac's on my property too. So you can have your chicken coop next to your hunting license, next to your wedding venue, and then a bunch of small cabins that I would probably use from a guy like Bob, where we can break down exactly how much money it would cost you to add one of Bob's. All this adds up to maybe costing you $25K a year for management costs. And then I think the upside for this is several $100,000 a year. Now, I haven't done all of this yet besides buy the place and the barn dominium. Do you guys want me to cover all of this as I do it live? Let me know in the comments. I think in a world that's getting more complex, having a piece of land to escape to is maybe important. The United States has 2.4 billion acres of landscapes waiting to be explored. And I think there's a real sense of America out here. So it's not just about making money, it's about leaving a legacy behind and having something you can touch and maybe just getting a little dirt underneath your fingertips. I think this isn't just a business, it's a chance for us to create something lasting. If you guys liked this video, let me know and we can break down maybe how more of us can own our land instead of China.